As always, this is Tony, and with me today are the following players.
Hi, this is Bethany, and I'm playing Belinda Walsingham, the half-elf awakened mystic.
Hi, this is Adam, and I will be playing Akiva Khonshu, the Shadar Kai Hexblade Warlock.
Hi, I'm Jane, and I'm playing Nissa Turin, the Gnome Arcane Trickster Rogue.
Hi, I'm Mike, and I'm playing Scrivener Shannon Whitecliffe, the Human Rogue Fighter.
Next week will be Rumble Squad Episode 2-3. Join us now for Sharpened Quill Episode 5, Your Future Within the Empire. Last time, Sharpened Quill begins to mingle with the partygoers during the events of the ball, trying to solve odd problems here and there, and make more of a name for themselves among this esteemed clientele. Darvin approaches them, however, with news that he is attempting to make a play for head of his household, but his father, Favian, has claimed to have some blackmail information on him. The party decides to try a multi-pronged approach to see how they can resolve Darvin's problem. Scriv, Nissa, you guys arrive back at the Great Hall. As you are kind of initially entering, they are already on the second course, which this is more fresh baked bread, roasted lamb, roasted venison, you see legs of pork, roast potatoes, red wine, and every single table has a couple bottles that say Ashglade brandy on them.
Oh.
As you guys are walking in, you notice a human male. Long, straight brown hair, blue eyes, kind of silky chocolate skin, just shy of 6 feet, and has a very long mustache. Seems to notice you and start to approach you. Well, you're both of the Sharpened Quill, right?
Yes.
You're the Vanquishers of Tenebris. You started a new business. I have a proposition for you. My name's Rowan. He kind of gesture for you to lean in a little bit. If you're looking, I have a few prime locations available just south of the Empire where you can establish a base. Cheap places that you can pay for and get some prime real estate.
You don't say.
I've got the inside scoop. My informant knows a few details about various expansion enterprises to the south and is cutting me in on a deal. If we can get some of these places populated with good businesses, and you guys starting fresh, already having a place of your own, fully established, easy to find and contact.
I would like to just flash the hand signal for Con ? To Nissa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you interested? It's really cheap.
Oh, yes, definitely interested. Who was establishing these outposts? I was under the impression that, it was the state that was supporting them.
Oh, of course it is. But, my man has the inside scoop on all this.
Well, that's pretty good. We have some connections of our own in the Vremer expansion. Maybe we could compare notes, see what's going on.
That'd be fantastic. Who is your connection?
Oh, no, it's probably no one you recognize. Some nonsense paladin from beyond.
Paladin establishing connections. Well, that's not usually what I hear paladins do, but okay.
What about you?
My man, he likes to keep to himself a bit, He's a bit higher up on the chain of nobility, and you see him kind of look around the room.
Rowan, if we're making a deal, especially something that's so precious like this, you have to give me some information to take back to investors. You can't just be this vague, Rowan. Come on, you have to give me something.
Roll a persuasion check.
16.
Rowan kind of looks around. All right, now you don't go to him, because he doesn't like being bothered with this stuff.
Of course.
The Brediers, Royal Family Brediers, one of the kids there, Karak, he's got his fingers in all sorts of little enterprises going on around. He's the one who told me about this one. But you did not hear that from me.
No, of course not. I mean, it's not exactly as though you have the paperwork on you. I mean, for me, if you did, I would love to sign some paperwork.
Oh, if you want. And he kind of produces from beneath his coat some papers that seem to, initial inspection, indicate establishment of a town to the south just north of the Qasim Desert, which, Scriv, you know well enough, is not currently Vremer Empire territory.
Not currently, no. To my knowledge, can I be sure that one of the main people spearheading it would be my father? If he were to establish any sort of expansion like.
I mean, he's not the only one, but he could be one of them, or he knows people who are.
And can I recognize this as possibly a scam meant for people who don't know much about the Vremer expansion?
Roll investigation. Nissa, are you doing anything?
Just keeping my eyes on him and his body language.
Roll insight.
14 for my investigation.
22.
Between the 14 investigation and the 22 insight, Scriv, the paperwork looks pretty legit. It talks about as the Empire will be establishing its connections to the various southern areas and continue its expansion, this town would be included within the territory, and basically a lot of legalese into how much it would cost, but you would get like 75% off of any payments that future people would pay into it if you pay within a certain degree of time.
And this period of time I'm imagining is very short.
Extremely. Nissa, he 100% knows he's conning you and that there is no actual push to this. Scriv, you're not aware, even from your own intelligence, of your father making any, or knowing of anyone, or commenting on anyone making pushes to the south, for the very reason that the Qasim Desert is to the south, and therefore not a lot of resources. So there's no real reason to press to the south. Also, there are so many dangerous elements out there that it's not safe to press south to try and expand the borders that way. You know, the biggest expansion is northwest.
So it's possible that if he's conned anyone, he's sending a bunch of innocent people to go and die in the wilderness.
I mean, there might actually be a town down there. You don't know. And it's not in the Qasim Desert, but it's not safe. It's not great.
Rowan, I will take this documentation under advisement just so that I can consider. It's not just us. We have a bunch of other stakeholders that we need to...
That's no problem. And he kind of takes the documents back and puts it back in his jacket. Just let him know to come see me, and I'll be more than happy to show you all the documentation.
But Rowan, I need to give them something. If I say that I have this wonderful deal, they're going to say that it's too good to be true. Rowan, come on.
Look, I've got to keep this quiet. You know how these kind of opportunities go. You mentioned you know this paladin.
Pretty please may I try and lift the papers?
Go ahead and make a sleight of hand check. Because Scriv is literally talking to him and arguing with him, you have advantage.
24?
So as he's kind of opening up his jacket to kind of tuck the papers inside, you kind of put a hand, grab the paper. As soon as his hand releases, you quickly slip it out and like tuck it into your back pocket.
I will hand signal to Scriv. Got them.
I will take my hand off. Okay, Rowan, I understand what you have to keep it quiet. I get it.
See, I know you understood this. That's just have him come see me. We'll sign the paperwork, get everything set up for the Sharpened Quill.
Rowan, I really appreciate it. Not many people are willing to go out on a limb for the underdog.
I want to help those new businesses out there get a real good start in this empire.
Pleasure talking with you. Hope to talk to you soon.
He goes and this big pat on the shoulder, goes to shake your hand.
Shake his hand.
And he'll walk away.
Oh, geez, I don't know what came over me. So you got it?
I got it. Well done. You really went along with all he was saying. I'm proud.
I just imagined what would Akiba say, and then what would Belinda tell Akiba to say.
Whatever works.
Okay, well, either A, he's actually working with the Badirs, and they're trying to con people just under the table, or he's using a noble's name for his own benefit. We're checking out later, not who we're mainly looking for. Mr. DM, can we find out where Favian is?
Currently, he is seated up on the dais by the king.
By the king. Do we know if there's going to be an opportunity for everyone to hobnob after this course?
Oh yeah, there's the actual dancing part. You won't know if he will remain for long. He might retire with the king to the more private chambers with other high nobles, but currently he is there.
What would motivate a rich person to say, I need to address this now?
Well, you've met him, got that in your favor. You also both have artifacts in common. Use that as an in.
Really? Just do that? Just walk up and say, hi, my name is Shannon Whitecliffe. I like artifacts. And
I mean, maybe a little bit cooler than that, but yeah.
Okay. Walk up to the dais.
I will say, as you're walking up, you do notice there are people that are now not just seated and eating. They are milling about. They're talking. They're conversing. Music does continue to play. throughout all of this. You walk up. You see a couple of guards kind of like straighten a bit more as you get close. But you notice everyone's attention on the dais. Just turn to look at all of you.
Nobles? Lord Nathandem, may I have a moment of your time? We met the other evening while your son was recovering and didn't really have a chance to get acquainted.
He just stares at you like, ponders for a moment. You're one of the vanquishers of Tenebris, one of the ones that went on my son's expedition, yes?
Yes, sir. The very same.
I suppose I have a moment. Pardon me, your majesties. And he'll do a slight bow towards the royal family and stand up. So he will gesture. Is this something we should speak more privately about, or is here fine? Because I know you're friends of my son, yes?
That is true, but I also heard that you have a particularly prolific collection of relics, and I was interested in talking about them. Mostly what your personal interest is, maybe some advice in acquiring a collection of my own at some point.
Roll a persuasion check.
19.
Oh, you're interested in... Of course, I should... Please, let's go discuss this. I have many things I can tell you about my collection, and... Oh, some of those were exquisite deals. And he starts to kind of gesture to walk with him.
I'll start walking as well.
I will say, Scriv, one thing you notice as you are starting to walk with him, a female dwarf noble, the head of the Stonemore household, looks over a little nervously at you and Favian, and then seems to just go to continue her meal.
I already have a bone to pick with the Stonemores, so I'll keep that in mind.
So you are walking towards the entrance. As you do, we jump back over to Belinda and Akiva. So you guys have just spoken to all the various kitchen staff, and you wanted to head back and see if you can find the delegation member.
Yes, as described to us. And speak to her directly.
As you guys walk back into the hall, from the Thesson delegation, there was a male dwarf, the half-dwarf, and a female dwarf.
Well, we know we're looking for a lady dwarf, as described to us, so...
So you see that delegation's actually speaking to the Solanan representatives right now. They're both seated at the table and seem to be conversing in somewhat hushed tones.
I'd like to eavesdrop.
Go ahead and each of you make a stealth check and a perception check. One to see how quiet you're being, and then how much you hear. Stealth checks first.
9?
13?
And then perception checks.
8.
19!
Between the two of you, Belinda, you help to kind of keep Akiva quiet before he bumps right into some of the staff that's helping to serve food, and are overall fairly discreet coming over. However, your attention is a little distracted by making sure Akiva doesn't cause a commotion. Don't quite hear everything that's being said. Akiva, though, you catch from the Solanans. It would simply be within your best interests to allow the negotiations to proceed. We are simply asking for those spell gems that you mine and create. In exchange, we can provide the assistance you need to eliminate this continued undead nature that exists around your kingdom. Catch a little bit of, how did you know? We have our sources in how we're able to acquire such information. We know you're here and you did this job in order to eliminate the undead threat around you, but the threat still persists. We can aid you with this. We have the arcane resources, and in exchange, we simply want a agreement of a supply of spell gems to Solana. That is not too much to ask, is it? You get more snippets of the dwarves are not particularly happy that they cannot guarantee any deals yet. They would have to confer. There is a snide remark made of the Solanans can't produce them themselves, which is why they need their help. But the Solanans do not show any sign of backing down, and they are very cocky about, like, you can give us the spell gems and we help you, or we can kind of, divert our attention elsewhere, and you'll have to just deal with this undead threat by yourself. If you wait a moment later, the Solanans are going to get up and say, we will allow you to think more on this.
Okay. Quick telepathic thing to Akiva. So they seem to be having a serious diplomatic conversation. We're about to intervene with something very petty and personal.
Is this something we want to bring up, or put it away for later?
Let's put a pin in it.
Okay.
Because we still have to get to the queen.
You do notice the half-dwarf did seem to notice you, but decided to just ignore it. They turned their attention to you.
Excuse me, ma'am?
Yes, what can I do for you? She has short, wavy brown hair and golden eyes, rough gray skin, just shy of 4 feet, and very muscular. She looks like she's been in a lot of fights in her life. You see symbols of Yadumin adorn her outfit.
Could we have a quick word in private?
I suppose so. She'll get up and follow you.
Sorry, my name's Belinda Walsingham. I don't think we got properly introduced before.
Throry Barrelchin.
Well, it's a honor to actually make your acquaintance, Rory.
There was an incident that occurred in the kitchen that we believe you were involved in.
Are you trying to accuse me of something?
To be clear, we just want to figure it out, and if you were justified in your actions, we can help.
Roll persuasion.
Can I have a chance to say something?
Yeah, go for it.
Rory, I understand what it's like. You see someone, you think you know who they are. Seems like there's a spark there, but then you find out it's just an ugly personality underneath, and, you're hurt. I understand.
Roll with advantage.
22.
She looks over at her fellow dwarven representatives. Look, he was so proud of that marzipan bust of the king he just wanted to show to him, and I don't even understand why.
What happened?
He's a good-looking guy. I don't understand what the problem with this is.
It's okay. He seems like quite a jerk.
It's okay. I got my revenge.
Rory, we were asked to investigate this, and the main reason is if no one else takes responsibility, blame will inevitably fall on one of the poor members of the kitchen staff, and you can imagine what their day-to-day life is like.
Fine.
Counteroffer. What if we tell him something else?
What are you proposing?
He seems to be a bit of a jerk. Why not give him a little payback?
I mean, I already got the payback thanks to the help of my friend there. I appreciate it, though.
Telepathically, dude, we're trying to get him on our side so we can get to the queen!
Darn it!
Yes, I understand the idea of comeuppance, Akiva, but, we also just want to be doing the proper thing here in the palace, in the home of the king and the queen.
You're right. Yes.
I don't want to get any of the kitchen staff into trouble.
No, and we wouldn't want this to be a diplomatic incident. He was throwing around some accusations.
I doubt he'd be able to do anything to me anyways.
Oh, yes, I'm not really worried about the harm to you, particularly. You seem like you can stand up for yourself. But your brain of justice could have some negative outcomes in this case, for other people. And you seem like a caring person.
Alright, I'll go speak with him.
Oh, we'll come with you.
Yes, come. One thing the Lord Chamberlain does ask is how did she even get in there? And she said she busted the lock.
It wasn't busted.
No.
Can I insight her?
Yeah.
21.
When she says she busted the lock, she seems to almost tap a pocket and get the impression she might have a key.
That someone helped get for her? Someone in the kitchen staff? Yeah. Gotcha. I have no interest in outing that. I will telepathically say to Akiva, I think she got a key from a member of the kitchen staff.
Good.
So there's a brief bit of conversation about how he will make sure that, she's going to pay for this. And she says,
no. If he starts to say that, we'll intervene. I'm pretty sure Throry here has diplomatic immunity and is in a higher position than you, Lord Chamberlain. We just wanted to get the truth out there. But there's no need to make this an incident. It is a small event, a little blip. It looks like you've already repaired most of it.
The tongue is gone now. There's still a smear where it was, but it's as if the face got flattened in that spot.
It looks like this is all going to be smoothed over.
There's no need to drag it out any further than it needs to be.
There are other things going on. This bust is simply a small component of a significant feast that I know you put a lot of work into and you want to see succeed. And we have done our part to assist with that. Now you don't have to worry or stress about it. Everything is copacetic.
Roll persuasion.
25.
He looks very upset, but he kind of holds it in and just, you're right. I must put everything together. There's much more important things to do.
Excellent. However, we do need a couple moments of your time.
Yes, of course. Throry, my apologies. If you would be so kind as to return to the Great Hall, third course will be proceeding shortly.
Okay, well, I'm going to say, Lord Chamberlain, we would like a proper introduction to the Queen.
Of course, if you won't mind giving me a few minutes to get everything settled in here for the third course, to at least get finished up, I can find you in the Great Hall in a few minutes.
That sounds
Absolutely.
lovely.
Especially since you've been so kind as to help me here, you should go and enjoy the second course.
Thank you.
It's delicious if I do say so myself.
Looking forward to it.
So he will turn to go and start to direct the kitchen staff as Throry goes and exits out to go back to the Great Hall with you. Now, as you see, Scriv, Nissa, and Favian are exiting the Great Hall.
I'm gonna slip away. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna do a quick telepathic open as we cross, just to say, is it going okay?
I think I embarrassed myself, but I recovered it.
Okay, we did a favor for the Lord Chamberlain successfully, so we are going to meet the Queen. Hopefully you're doing just as well.
Meet.
Need to slip away a moment or two. I'm sorry.
Okay. Scriv, are you okay on your own?
I can do it.
You got this, buddy.
Don't forget you have your earring if you need to whisper anything to us.
Okay.
You begin to proceed down hallway as Favian is starting to tell you about this vase that he found that is intricately painted about a battle scene. And
I want to telepathically reach out to Zolas. Scriv is going with Favian to have a chat. If he's not back in 10 minutes, please go follow him.
Yeah, on it. Which direction?
Turn right out of the Great Hall. I assume they're heading to the Nathandem quarters.
Belinda, Kiva, you are entering the Great Hall, where you can sit and enjoy some of the second course. Scriv, you are proceeding down towards what you figure, given your own sense of direction and everything, the Nathandem wing of the palace, which you have been a couple of times, having seen Darvin. It's just a different route to take there. As you're going, Favian is going on and on about all of these various artifacts he's had the chance to acquire. Hasn't commented anything that seems a bit shady yet, but a couple of mentions of how he has been able to talk some people down from the price, considering, clearly this is not as valuable. Look at the damage to the artifact. Its transition wasn't well taken care of when he acquired it.
Is there a particular time period that he's focused on collecting from, or is it just whatever? If it looks shiny, he'll buy it.
He is very much of the more impressive it looks, the more likely he'll buy it. Doesn't care of any of the actual historical value. Or unless the historical value basically adds a high shininess factor, like it was a wand from Favian Arborshade or something like that.
Okay, he wants something notable, something highly visible, something he can brag about.
Yeah. The historical value itself doesn't matter as much, but if he can tie something big to it historically, that's better.
Okay.
So he's just going on and on as you are walking down the hall toward the Nathandem wing. As you get closer to it, you're starting to notice the design of one of the doorways has the crest of the Nathandem household. As you're going past the barrier, you're noticing kind of the change in the art style of the area, which goes from very simple but focus on the royal family, which so majesty, power, authority, to kind of that historical show of artifacts everywhere. Look how many artifacts we have. It's so pretty. You've been here a few times.
Okay. Is that one attendant still here, or is she just the attendant to the Dawn Herald?
As far as you're aware, she's the attendant to the Dawn Herald.
I just agree and praise him as much as possible by highlighting particular bits that he's proud of, giving him little bits of trivia that he can drop at the next soiree.
He pauses and actually starts to listen to you a bit and seems well, I wasn't aware of that. I should keep you around. What would your normal going rate be if I were to hire you on full time?
Living expenses.
Oh, you would live simply within the wing, of course.
Plus, of course, a small stipend just for personal expenses, personal luxuries. Standard of living that I've become accustomed to, especially when dealing with relics.
Of course. Once you deal with such things, there's just so much that you must have. I would have to vet you, of course. What sort of experience do you have dealing? These stories are fantastic, and I would have to search as well to confirm them.
Oh, well, of course. I've worked on a number of digs. Perhaps you know my mother, Jane Whitecliffe.
Archivist Whitecliffe is absolutely fantastic at her work at Silverkeep and that time period. Am I right?
Not only there, but all across the Vremer expansion. Whenever a location was discovered, me and my mother would go and secure the site, dig, recover artifacts, and alas, some of them, and at this I would like to just kind of show the amulet.
Okay.
Alas, some of them would just get lost in transit and find their way somewhere else.
Yes. His eyes are fixed on your amulet. Yes, of course.
This is just a small bauble that I found in one of the dig sites, and it caught my eye.
Right. And he kind of starts to blink and tear his eyes away a little bit. Of course. Where did you find this?
It was one of the dig sites a few months back. It was guarded by some being. I'm not an expert when it comes to supernatural entities.
Perhaps you can explain a bit more about this being to me. As you know, my son is the Dawn Herald, and I've picked up a few things from him.
Very well. It was a being of sight, of flame. It was odd, really, but there were a few casualties. But the relic was secured.
With a shame.
What am I getting from him in terms of this? He seems nervous.
Roll an insight check.
22 insight.
He is not surprised by your story, and you get a sense of, he recognizes your amulet. And as you tell the story, you see, kind of that expression you get when suddenly a memory comes to you, all of a sudden. So there's something he's remembering that is linked to what you just told him. Where was this at?
It was just a small ruin beneath one of the towns out in the Vremer expansion. I mean, are you familiar with many of the dig sites? Perhaps it's one that you visited in your travels?
Oh, I don't travel much. I tend to conduct most of my business here. I hire several individuals to go out and do such things.
Oh, yes, no, a man of your station certainly must have a number of curators that go out and bring relics like these to you.
This was found by you, not your mother.
She is not aware of the location of this particular item. It's very close to me.
Go ahead and roll a deception check.
The total is 18 on deception.
Well, I'm surprised you wouldn't have told your mother. I mean, there was a partial collapse at that. Kind of clams up as he realized he might have said too much.
Ah, so you are aware of the dig site.
He looks around, noticing that you're alone currently. I hired a small expedition at one point to go out there. Some students. You wouldn't have happened to work with any students out there, did you?
There may have been a time where the archivist was unable to lead a group of students, and I may have had to lead that group of students.
I mean, it was a terrible event that occurred. Most of the students were too afraid to go back out onto digs. I don't suppose you... Oh, he was one that I used a few times. Gorvanal?
I'm quite familiar with Gorvanal.
Have you seen him? I haven't spoken to him in some time.
Really? He was just in Veripol a few weeks ago.
Really? That's odd.
Is he legitimately surprised that Gorvanal's still out and about, or...
Roll another insight check.
25.
He's surprised that Gorvanal was in Veripol, but there's some concern there, too. Of what, he might have some vague idea of what that might mean. I suppose, then, that he must have been hired by somebody else to go out there. A competitor, perhaps, to my own hopeful attempts to preserve such artifacts, of course.
Lord Nathandem, if I may be so bold, if you're concerned about him securing artifacts, aside from what he would offer you, then please rest assured that myself and a few of my associates were able to drive him away from a very valuable find. Something that, if you were interested, I'm sure I could perhaps give exclusive rights to.
Looks around again. What sort of thing are you talking about?
I take a moment and I look around. These are all magnificent artifacts that you have, my lord. They cover a wide breadth of history. You have things from the age of the barbarians, you have things from more recent kingdoms, but there is one that I do find missing.
Go on. You have his full attention.
Well, my lord, you know that in the time before, there were the giants and the dragons. Where did they go, my lord?
Are you offering me something from... He leans in really close. The Age of Silence.
The very same, my lord.
You have never heard of that before.
Nope, never heard of it, but I'm going along with it. Now, if there were a particular part of the Age of Silence that you were interested in, my lord, then you merely need to say the word. As I'm sure I have proven now.
What do you want in exchange? He kind of leans back a little bit again.
Money. A placement within this household. You have history abundant here. Prestige. Comfort. the opportunity to educate people in time periods beyond the Age of Silence, and the freedom to continue to study. A man of your position can offer me plenty of protection.
As long as your silence on anything you find to anyone else.
Silence is golden, my lord.
Come. And he will walk towards that door and open it, and you see it's a study.
I would like to take in as many details as possible as he leads me into the study.
I mean, it looks like a normal study. As you initially walk in, he closes behind you, and he'll kind of fumble in the drawer. You notice he doesn't go for one of the drawers that seems visible, but reaches kind of under the desk.
Okay. Similar to what we saw in Salvador's.
Pulls something out, and you hear a click. Puts a very blackened-looking scroll kind of on the desk. Doesn't crack, but it seems to move like parchment. Starts to unroll it slightly, and he goes, "Are you prepared to sign an agreement that anything you discover on the Age of Silence and the dynasty that existed therein," and he stares closer at you, "to report only to me your findings, unable to tell anyone else, upon pain of death?"
You've offered me nothing in security.
You would have power. Power that you could only dream of.
My lord, this is not the first time I've heard such ominous offerings. Be more specific in this power. Is it political? Is it arcane?
He stands up a little bit straighter, by the way, at this point, and just, "Dear little pathetic child, do you really think that you have any chance of truly bartering with me on this? I am offering you power beyond this mortal coil, beyond this realm that you cannot fathom. So you travel to the abyss with my son. I offer you wealth unimaginable, the backing of the Nathandems, who are only going to rise in rank, thanks to my son and his continued support for the Fremer Empire and the king. Now, he will do what I say, because he knows what's best for him. I suggest you do the same, and get to learn all of this history that you wish to learn. In exchange, platinum more than you can count, abilities that you would be able to find nowhere else, power and prestige that only I can offer you." At about this point, you hear outside in the hallway, Hey, Scriv, where are you, Scriv? Come on, buddy. Where you going? Where you at?"
And I bow my head to Lord Nathandem. It seems
He holds a hand up. You do recognize the voice of Zolas, by the way. And he'll just walk cautiously over to the door and says, "Stay silent." He will go to the door.
I would like to pull on my earring.
So jumping over to everyone else, 10 minutes go by, and you see Zolas, flask in hand, he might be a little buzzed, walk out, and leave.
Nissa, by the way, is busy, right? Elsewhere.
Nissa's just arrived back.
Okay, gotcha.
And you hear over the earring,
Back up, Zolas. It's worse than we thought.
On our way, right now.
So back over to you, Scriv. Is there anything you're doing as you see him kind of like inch the door open and peek out?
I would like to look at this blackened document that he pulled out.
It's currently blank.
Is there any way for me to get to the documents behind, like, in the drawer and just, like...
Roll a stealth check with advantage.
23, a crit.
You're able to get there. You notice what looks like a sealed letter, 2 others of these rolled up blackened scrolls, and a couple other various miscellaneous items.
I will take the sealed letter.
Okay, you snag it. By this point, everyone else will be arriving. So, you guys start to head down that way towards the Nathandem wing, where you do hear Zolas going, "Hey, Scriv, buddy, where are you at? Come on, you're missing the party."
We'll go along with it, Scriv.
So, after a moment, Scriv, after you snag that letter, you hear Akiva call out Scriv, and Favian turns to you. "Perhaps you would join your friends?" And he will gesture you out, in which you guys all see as you arrive at the Nathandem wing. Scriv is exiting out of a side room. Zolas is somewhere down the hallway, and he kind of turns, "Hey, buddy."
Sorry, Zolas. It was just, I kind of got caught up talking about research and everything, and one thing led to another. Have you seen this hallway? It's huge!
"We should rejoin the the Great Hall, I believe. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. And he looks at the rest of you. After you, Shannon, Scriff.
Of course, Lord Nathandem.
Remember what we discussed.
Of course. And I will go over to everyone and hand signal for telepathy.
Telepathy open.
Also out loud, I'll be like, you're missing like the whole party. There's like tons of good lamb, man. And then we will have a conversation about the food.
Yes, I would like to have the most basic of conversations about meat.
Okay.
What do you need?
He knows about the Zumyar Empire. He is in so deep with super shady stuff, he has this black scroll and was trying to sell me power beyond my imagining, end quote.
Why?
Because he knows about the Empire. He knows about Veripol. He knows about everything.
So what do you want to do?
Knock him out, find a key, get into that room. There's a secret drawer inside of his desk.
I don't think this is going to be an immediate solution sort of thing, man.
If you guys are walking, you will be passing guards again.
Which room? What?
The room that I just left.
I was like, Nissa, do you want to go right now?
Sure.
There's a secret drawer underneath his desk. Do not sign the black scrolls. They look blank, but they're probably not.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Do you want me to stick with him for a full hour? Because I can either try to access his memories or I can plant a memory.
Will he know?
No.
Ransack his mind.
Okay, it'll take me an hour.
As long as you don't have to actually talk with him.
No, I just have to be in proximity to him.
Perfect. Schmoozing with the nobles.
We have to talk to the queen anyway, so we'll be by the dais.
Okay. What course are we even on? I missed the meat.
Oh, there's still plenty, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think you can still have a little bit until they bring out the third course.
I'm just not used to all this fancy dining.
Yeah, we're often so busy and outside of town.
Are you sneaking away, Nissa?
As soon as Favian stops having eyes on us, yeah.
Okay, he's following you so far. He is making a point of staying behind all of you.
Quick telepathy to Zolas. Can you make a drunken distraction for a moment, please?
So Zolas is walking along. He kind of like... He was coming up to Scriv, so he puts an arm around Scriv. You okay, buddy? You good?
You know I signed off of the drinking thing, but I could definitely use a drink.
Yeah, you should. And he hands over what is Ashglade brandy, a whole bottle, into your hand. You take it, and it's got like only like a quarter drunk from it.
Oh no. I'm gonna take a swig of brandy.
Roll a con save. 9. Oh, it burns. It burns. You're coughing. You're holding...
I'm gonna just lean against the wall.
So Zolas snags the bottle out of your hand, like yanks it out, and you see it like splash over Favian. He's like, oh my.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Akiva, that napkin.
Yeah.
I'll start trying to mop it up. Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. These parties get out of hand.
Nissa, you have your opportunity. Stealth check with advantage.
28.
You guys are aware Nissa is just suddenly not there. But currently, Favian is very distracted by his ruined outfits.
I'm dabbing, like, his shoulder to try to, like, soak some of it up with this napkin from Akiva.
I'm so sorry. I should stop. I need to stop drinking.
Oh, Lord Favian, my apologies. Just, like, you know, kind of...
It's fine. I will go change. I have a spare outfit back at the Nathandem wing. It will be no problem. You go up to the door. Door's locked.
I'd like to pick the lock, please.
Go for it.
So is he turning around to go back? Because we're going to try to slow him down as much as possible.
What are you saying?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Here, let us try to
let us
compensate
clean you. Come on.
28.
So, surprisingly, difficult lock. But you click and open it. Walk into the room. You go to the desk. The little trap door that's under the desk is actually still hanging open. You see 3 black scrolls. It looks like one of them got jammed in as he was trying to shut it quickly. So one of these blackened, like, cracked-looking scrolls is just hanging out and seems to have stopped it from shutting. So you snag them all.
Anything else in there?
Make an investigation check.
14.
There's a ring over there. Ruby. Snag the ring?
Yes.
All right.
I'll get out.
Okay, you scurry out. Close the door behind you. As you are scurrying back, I would like one more stealth check. As you hear footsteps approaching you now.
Come on, we spilled you. We have to clean it.
It's fine. I will change. It will be fine.
22.
Favian kind of like eventually pulls himself away from you guys, starts to walk away. You do stall him for a few minutes. As Favian walks away, Nissa seems to just reappear in the midst of your group.
That poor guy. Scriv, honestly, we need to get you some drink training, dude.
That would be great. That would be fantastic.
Quick telepathy to Nissa. Did you get it?
Get it?
Zolas, can I just lean on you for a bit?
Yeah, that's fine, buddy. Come on.
Thank you.
You know, Zolas is actually standing up like a little straighter. He's less slouchy. Like he might have played it up a little bit.
Yeah, Zolas, where could... Oh, no, shoot. Akiva, we have to get back to the main chamber.
You're gonna have to debrief with Nissa then. We have to go.
I gotta wait for him to come back so I can focus to try to use my ability on him. But for now, we have to go back so we don't miss the Lord Chamberlain.
So actually, as you guys are approaching the Great Hall, you see the Lord Chamberlain coming from the opposite direction. Oh, there you are. You wish to... I can give you a proper introduction now.
Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you.
Zolas, if there's just a place we can hide out for a minute or so, we have to see if we got the job done.
He thinks for a minute. Yeah, I know a spot. Come on. And he will start walking down a different passageway. Who's going with him? So Scriv and Nissa?
Yep.
So, you guys follow the Lord Chamberlain up towards the dais. You notice the Queen seems to be kind of like making the rounds a little bit, introducing, like talking to a couple of the other nobles. Does pick her head up when she realizes the Lord Chamberlain is approaching her. Hello. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. You are some of the vanquishers of Tenebris, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you for your service to the Empire. It is always appreciated to find excellent citizens that aid us in such dangerous endeavors.
We are so happy to serve.
This Lord Chambers. This is Belinda Walsingham, Kiva Conchu. They wish to meet you personally. They have already aided me in a particularly annoying and difficult situation. She just kind of does like a little bit of a knowing smile, like, yes, of course. I'm sure it was very difficult. Thank you for aiding our Lord Chamberlain here, and it is a pleasure to meet the both of you. Is there any particular reason you wish to meet with me specifically?
Oh, certainly, Your Highness. Not just because we're honored to meet with you as our sovereign, but we had some personal business we were hoping to speak with you about that would be to your interest.
Something more private, or is here fine?
A tad more private, please.
Roll a persuasion check with advantage.
27.
Oh, I suppose. And she does kind of like a little gesture, and you notice 3 guards come up and start to walk with her and you towards one of those back curtains.
Thank you so much.
We know your time is incredibly valuable, so we won't beat around the bush too much.
As you walk back, you notice the room beyond, rather elaborately designed, silver and red, and is kind of an enclosed point. This between the Great Hall and you're aware of the audience chamber beyond. Now you notice here, guards are side by side.
As we're walking, can I make the hand signal to open up the telepathic communication real quick?
Sure.
I will also say, as you are walking, Akiva, you feel all your power gone.
That's okay. Okay, so how do we want to approach this? I had an idea, but I wanted to see if you had anything first.
Let's hear what you got.
I think, and it might just be me being me, we just go for the whole earnest truth. We tell her, hey, we have become pretty acquainted with Darvin the Nathandem, and he is trying to make a bid for controlling power of his house. We think that would be a good fit, especially in terms of good for the Empire. He has proven himself to be very worthy of all the praise he has garnered and has the people's best interest at heart. However, his father seems to want to stonewall him. And then explain the situation.
Let's see. We don't have all the real dirt on Favian yet, so we can't really unmask him. But he's generally terrible, and I doubt she likes him.
Correct. And then we could appeal to her as the real power behind the throne.
Maybe not quite so bluntly, but yes. Speak to her influence.
Yes.
You guys, during this telepathic conversation, exit out of the guard chamber. As you guys exit out of this chamber, you come into the audience chamber. And every square inch of the audience chamber is adorned in gold filigree and artwork in rich fabrics. 2 thrones carved from the finest mahogany in the Vremer Empire sit beneath a rich crimson cloth, trimmed with pearls from Amaran. Behind the thrones, you see a vast tapestry that depicts the events of the Cataclysm, in a series of vignettes from the incursion of the ghouls and the dragons to the heroic last stand of the champions. Portraits of the Rain family line the walls, showcasing the royal family's long lineage, and a crystal chandelier is lit by some arcane magic as it shifts in color. Here you do still see many different guards kind of scattered about, but it is a much quieter room. Currently, only you, the guards, and the queen reside here.
Your Highness, thank you again for making time to meet with us and trusting us in a more private chamber. I know we're relative unknowns, and we appreciate you giving this opportunity to us.
It's the very least that I can do, given the great service that you provided to the Empire.
Of course, and we'll try to waste as little as time as possible.
I know you don't like to get too involved in the nitty-gritty political tensions between the noble houses because they are never-ending, but we wanted to bring something to your attention, and we were hoping we could sway your opinion on a particular subject.
Oh, and what might that be?
As you know, Darvin Nathandem, your royal cleric, is not currently the head of the Nathandem household. He, however, has made great strides with the defeat of Tenebris, proved himself just in terms of the good of the people. He's trying to make a bid for controlling power of his household, but his father seems to be stonewalling him. He has some dirt on Darvin. It only paints him in a better light from our perspective, but from the common perspective, we could see how it could be misconstrued and prevent him from taking controlling power of his household. We wanted to talk to you because we believe you could possibly sway the king, as he would listen to you. And we believe that Darvin having control of the Nathandem house would be good for the people. Whereas I've only met him for a couple of seconds, but Favian is unpleasant.
And selfish, ultimately. As you know, he pursues his own power, gain, and political capital above all else, and that simply is just not becoming to someone in such a high position. Sadly, not all nobles are examples to everyone beneath them in the social hierarchy, but at the highest levels, it seems like we should have someone who's noble, for lack of a better word, and yes, Darvin might have had something that happened in his youth that he regretted, but he has more than atoned for it with his actions since then, and if something negative about him were to come to the king's attention, I hope you would advise him to be open-minded and sympathetic to someone who has really dedicated their life to the service of this realm.
Are you planning to inform me so that I might be prepared as to what this event was? Or should I simply allow him to keep this as a bit of privacy?
Well, we were hoping to have some indication of what you thought first. It's not a secret that is ours, but one we have been entrusted with.
Roll a persuasion check with advantage. Either of you.
24.
Darvin is young, but so far as I have known him, he has been a good man. The Nathandems in general are perfectly fine, though they tend to occasionally flaunt their love of deities. I have no problem with loving a deity, I just do not like to be told to my face how often I should focus on said deity. Favian flaunts the wealth of the Nathandems, and while he has made incredible strides in aiding the temples, he most assuredly wants everyone to know that he is aiding the temples. I will speak with my husband on this matter. If Darvin does decide to make a play for the head of his household, I will be in his corner. However, if there should come a time where I need aid from you...
We would be more than happy to assist you with anything you need.
I've always worked in service of the Vremer Empire.
Your mother has done fantastic work for the Empire, so I do not doubt that should I request something of you, you will get on it. No questions asked, other than the questions needed to accomplish the goal.
Of course.
Do we have a sense if there's something sinister in what she's asking?
Make an insight check.
17?
You're not noticing anything particularly sinister in what she's asking, and it doesn't seem like she has anything in mind, but from what you can read, it seems like she wants to hold you in reserve in case something does come into mind that would aid her.
Okay, she's been calculating, but not any more so than anyone else at court. It's just a normal, like, all right, I'm doing something for you, you will do something for me at some point.
Yes.
I guess I'll say, I think you have a deal.
Yes.
Excellent.
Stretch out my hand. This is the appropriate thing to do. I haven't made a deal with a royal before.
She will kind of hold her hand palm down.
Oh, I will kiss the hand. Kiss the ring. Is there a ring?
There's a ring. There's a few.
Okay, we will kiss the ring.
Yes.
And then she will gesture for you to follow a couple of the guards out.
Thank you again for this audience. It's very much appreciated.
Of course, you have done a great service to the Empire, and I hope you will continue to do great things. I hope to hear the name Sharpened Quill more often.
As do we.
I look forward to your future within the Empire.
Thank you, and have a lovely rest of your evening.
So you guys exit out. And that is where we're going to leave this episode for today.
Thank you all for listening. Please share this with your friends and follow us on Twitter at rulesaswritten, or check out our website, dndraw.com. And feel free to email any questions to our DM at dm@dndraw.com. Also subscribe and leave us a review or comment anywhere podcasts are found. If you want to support us, please check out our Patreon at patreon.com/dndraw. Thank you for joining us on our adventures.
If you enjoy the adventures of our characters in Ostia and our show about the rules for 5th edition, support us on Patreon. For just $1 a month, you will get exclusive content and updates. If you're interested in a look behind the curtain of how we keep track of all of our quests, we are going to be releasing our players' to-do list document for each session to all patrons going forward. This includes our plans for which characters need to have a heart-to-heart, what letters are they writing to family at home, and which NPCs can't be trusted. Beyond that, higher tiers get DM's notes, bloopers from our episodes, and to add an item or NPC to a D&D Raw episode. So we want to give a special shout out to our adventure tier and above patrons. So thank you Waldron, Carol Morris, William McCracken, Ryan Rhea Vermette, Mike C., Naked and Afraid, Feral Joe, Jeremy Kleinons, and a Linux fan. We are especially grateful to our producer tier patrons who listen to our audio before anyone else to give feedback and shape the final episode. We want to give a special thanks to Christopher Reinhardt for serving as a producer on this episode. Support us on Patreon at patreon.com/DNDRaw.